Hello, everybody. My name is Rouham Manzoor, and I'm the managing partner of Maces. We are very happy today to introduce our partner, um, Kyoto University of Advanced Sciences. And we have with us Mr. Kiyoshi Takeda from the university, who can help us understand about the university, about studying in Japan in general, about studying in Kyoto in general, and about life in general, about this great country. Um, Personally, my experience with the university goes a long way back. I've been working with Japanese university since 2010 or 2011. So I've been working with Japanese university for the last 9, 10 years. And it has been a wonderful journey for not only Maces, but for our students as well. আমাদের প্রচুর স্টুডেন্ট জাপানে পড়তে গিয়েছে এবং তারা খুব সাকসেসফুল ক্যারিয়ার পেয়েছে এবং we will talk a little bit about that. So, Mr. Kiyoshi, if you could introduce yourself and your university, that would be great.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kiyoshi Takeda. I work as the director of the International Office of Kyoto University of Advanced Science. I'm so excited to introduce Kyoto University of Advanced Science, specifically in all new exciting engineering faculty of engineering to you today. If you are interested in learning more about engineering. I probably have a opportunity to talk about our university in details later. So I'm so happy to see you today.
Wonderful. So, Mr. Kiyoshi, tell us about the university itself and its history. Like, why did it start? Why was there a need for an engineering university?
Right. So Kyoto University of Advanced Science is a private university, but accredited by the Japanese government since 1969. So it has been operating longer than 50 years already in our city, Kyoto. And our students population is around 3,600, and there are approximately 80 international students. Mainly they are from South Korea, mainland China, and Malaysia, Thailand, and Vietnam. All these countries, and we had offered four faculties just up until 2 years ago, when we had new chairman, Mr. Shigenobu Nagamori, and the CEO of NIDEC, NIDEC, the world largest motor company in the world. He is such a successful CEO of that company for 50 years. And by becoming a chairman of our university, he decided to launch this specific engineering program, not only for Japanese-speaking domestic students, but for international students as well, because he has a passion to nurture and develop a next generation of quality and talented, qualified engineers for any industry throughout the world. And that's the main reason why we decided to launch this specific engineering program that I like to talk about specifically for you today.
So basically, just to summarize, there your founder is actually a very successful business person, especially specifically in the automobile industry, and he
Yeah.
saw that there was this huge need for engineers in the world, and
Yeah.
specifically in Japan, and that's when he decided to launch this program. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes. Thank you very much for your beautiful summarization of my story, Mr. Manzoor. Thank you. Also,
um,
if you allow me, let me just add to it, because they are. And Mr. Naga, coming back slightly, Mr. Nagamori is such a successful or CEO, also engineer himself for a long time, and he has actually a 300 company throughout the world, actually in 50 different company, 50 different countries, and his entire workforce of 140,000 workers are constantly working for him on a regular basis. And mean that number happens to exceed an entire workforce of Google, even Apple's. So
wow.
that this example are can this example alone can tell you or can make you understand that how successful he is, also why he wanted to launch the strong engineering program in Japan to develop the next
And I was
generation.
also,
Yeah.
referring to this slide where it's I mean, these are actual numbers which sort of back up what you're saying. As of 2020, there is a shortage of 370,000
Oh yeah.
engineers in Japan. And
Yes.
is that like number going to be 790,000 in 2030?
Yes. Also, if you are interested, actually, Japan is chronically has been a severe shortage of engineers. Let me give you a concrete example, concrete numbers. Even now, 2020, as of this year, there are as many as 370,000 engineers in a shortage in Japan, if you believe it or not, whether you believe it or not, such a
Well, I mean,
such a
that's
here.
what the number is saying. I mean, I'll tell you one thing, my experience, because that's why I find Japan such an attractive destination for students from Bangladesh.
Mm,
Because in my experience, like a lot of students want to go to UK, Australia,
mm,
Canada, North America, but what we find is that they often struggle to find jobs. And in my experience, I've got almost 200 students by now who have actually studied, finished their studies, and graduated.
mm.
Our experience with Japan has been phenomenal. Each of our students, on an average, get 3 to 5 job offers
Okay.
before they
Mm,
graduate. So, I mean, these are not engineering students, by the way. I mean, we didn't, before you, we didn't have an engineering partner. So these are students who graduated from social sciences or business studies. But, they're, what is interesting is a lot of them are actually working in engineering jobs. So
okay.
they're working as industrial engineers, computer
Yeah.
engineers, and the company is training them because there's such a shortage. So this is something Bangladeshi স্টুডেন্টদের জন্য আমি মানে আমার মনে হয় খুবই ইন্টারেস্টিং একটা ফিগার যে আমাদের বাংলাদেশিরা একটা স্টেবিলিটি চাই, যেখানে যাচ্ছি আমরা পড়তে, সেখানে পড়াশোনা শেষ করার পরে আমাদের থাকার একটা বিষয় থাকে, বা গ্রাজুয়েট করার পরে চাকরি পাবো কিনা। তো আমাদের স্টুডেন্টরা 3টা থেকে 5টা করে জব পায় গ্রাজুয়েট করার আগে, কিন্তু with engineers, I mean, that's probably going to be a bigger number because there's just so many, I mean, such a big shortage. But I also, Mr. Kiyoshi, I wanted to bring to the students' attention this particular
Yeah.
slide. You can maybe talk about it.
Yeah, you may think as a student or maybe even as an adult, you may think that Australia is such a big country in terms of economy. The UK is definitely seems to be one of the largest economies in the world. But if you want to take a closer look into a data, Japan is 4 times bigger than Australia in the size of economy.
That is, I mean,
Does this make you
that is
surprised?
yeah, that is actually, I knew obviously because it's the third largest economy in the world, but a lot of times because it's in Asia, because the language is not English, a lot of students pretty much get confused and they go like, oh, why would I study in Japan? I mean, they don't consider that aspect of it, the fact that this is one of the largest economies in the world, 5 times larger than the economy of Australia, and almost double the size of the economy of the UK, which is something to think about because people don't usually correlate the size of the economy as an opportunity for students to get jobs later on. But that
Yeah,
is such an important factor. Whoever, আমি যদি বাইরে পড়তে যাই মানে এই if it's a bigger economy, that means there are more jobs for me out there when I
yeah,
graduate, and that's something we can certainly tap into, right? I mean, this is definitely interesting. Now,
yes,
this brings me to Kyoto because you're not in what do you say? You're not in located in Tokyo.
Tokyo,
A lot of
Tokyo.
students correlate that because you don't. Tokyo is the largest city, so maybe studying there means more opportunities. Perhaps you can shed some light about that,
Sure.
Mr. Kiyoshi.
Yeah, as you can see this from this slide, why study in Kyoto? So, okay, center of tourist spot in Japan means that if you come to Japan and if you come to our city Kyoto, you can also enjoy the cultural aspects as well. As you can see from this slide, 70% World Heritage sites are located in Kyoto, on 20% natural treasures in Kyoto, 40% important cultural properties also located in Kyoto. So, as you can see, these are from these beautiful photos on a daily basis. Actually, on the street, you can see these beautiful temples and shrines, everything, all
I can
from.
personally say because I have actually visited Japan
Okay,
several times, and
yeah,
I went to Kyoto, and of all the cities, I really fell in love with Kyoto. It is
thank you.
so ancient, so culturally strong, and it's
Yes,
so full of character. I mean, and the temples are so beautiful with the Japanese gardens and things like that, and it's
right,
so peaceful. I went to that. There's this place with the bamboo forest, like on the
yeah,
it's so peaceful. I mean, I just had a wonderful time. So Kyoto certainly, in terms of opportunities, is
yeah,
not behind because of course, it was the origin place of manga. I didn't know that actually, and a lot of traditional festivals. But for students, what is
yeah,
a very important thing is the industry affiliation, getting jobs, and
right,
this is where I mean, I guess Kyoto also shines. I mean, we have got the headquarters of some of the biggest companies that are
yeah.
placed in Kyoto. You've got Nintendo, huh?
Yeah,
So maybe you can talk.
Nintendo's. Yeah, Nintendo's. I'm sure as a student, you've heard about. Also, you have actually
Even I,
played with
even I have grown up with
Pokemon.
Nintendo.
Pokemon is everywhere you go. Everyone knows about Pokemon.
Right,
But,
right.
let me ask you, Chris. Did you know the company Nintendo who produced Pokemon actually located in Kyoto?
That's the thing. That's what I'm
Yeah.
trying. I didn't know that, but this is where it shows that Kyocera is there.
Yeah,
Omron.
Kyocera, Almuron, Rome, Nidec, all these companies are listed in Forbes magazines within the top 500 companies. Did you
This
believe
is
it, or do you believe it? Yeah. Oh, so not just five, actually 10, and there are as many as 10 companies are listed in the Forbes magazines and within the top 500 companies just within the small cities of Kyoto, a
I
1.5
mean, this
million
is this
city.
is this is something that is going to be very interesting for students because if you're graduating in engineering, these are all engineering companies. I mean,
Yeah,
you've got semiconductor companies, you've got
yes,
this is great. You've got chip makers, you've got battery makers, you've got of course Nintendo sensors. So I mean,
yes,
there is a huge opportunity there.
yes,
And in terms of course, if these are just the top Forbes 500, there are so many companies in the maybe top 1,000, 2,000 that are located there that students can also tap into in terms of getting jobs
yes,
after graduation. Um, so that's
definitely.
certainly interesting. And of course, there are. Oh wow! So maybe you can talk a little bit about. So it is a city of academic center. There are 34 university. I didn't know that. Oh wow!
Oh, 34 university, and actually, if you add these numbers to junior colleges, and actually, there are going to be as many as 50 universities and colleges in the city of Kyoto itself. So this,
Wow.
I guess that this is something that you might want to think about if you really want to be serious about coming to Kyoto. And what I mean by that is actually Kyoto is the most friendliest university friendly town for university students. And actually, 1 out of 10 Kyoto people is actually university students, and that's why people in Japan call Kyoto is the academic center of Japan.
This is certainly very very important for students to understand because this is a yeah. Now we've talked about Kyoto, we've talked about Japan. Japan is a great place to study and learn, and I'll give you an example because there are so many things that make studying in Japan attractive because when students go abroad they usually look for cost is a big factor for Bangladeshi students. Getting scholarships is a big factor. Getting jobs after graduation is a big factor. um, Safety and security is a big factor. So for all these reasons, Japan becomes one of the most attractive countries, which people don't realize because,
Mm.
in terms of university costs, they are actually very, very reasonable, even without the scholarship. But when you add in the scholarship, that makes it very, very attractive. Now, we've talked about Kyoto. Uh, we've talked about Japan. Let's talk about KUAS or Kyoto
Okay.
University of Advanced Sciences. Maybe you can explain a little bit about that.
Yeah. So our history goes back to 50 years ago, or when our university started and started back in 1969, and it has been operating in Kyoto no longer than 50 years already. And our student body population is around 3,600, and about out of which there are 80 international students and studying on our campus in a Japanese language mainstream. And we offer 4 faculties besides the engineering programs. But
But
unfortunately,
obviously, for Bangladeshi students, they're going into the English language program,
yes,
and so we're looking at the engineering really.
yes, yeah, only. Yes, actually, yeah, the engineering program is the only program conducted in the English language at KUAS.
I
Um,
mean, that's fine because it is, again, the most in-demand program. So,
okay,
we're interested in engineering actually. So,
okay,
tell us a little bit about I don't want to get into the faculties that are offered there, but I want to understand how the course is designed. I mean, obviously students from Bangladesh don't know any Japanese language,
mhm,
so will they learn Japanese when they come to the program? The
yeah,
program is delivered is in English,
yes.
but they will
Well,
learn some Japanese by the time.
exactly, exactly. As you can see, as you might be able to see from this slide, for the first freshman year, we're going to conduct the classes specifically for international students in the to let them learn the Japanese language so intensively. And so students can have an opportunity to learn how to speak, how to write, how to read, how to or everything or in the Japanese language for 2 years and so intensively. And good news is this is going to be with no additional cost to tuitions or so this is a part of learning
This is a
Japanese
part of the
language,
program. Yeah.
part of the program, part of a coursework, with a prospect on a job opportunity ahead. Once you feel comfortable about speaking Japanese language, there's more likelihood that those students can have find job opportunities in Japan very quickly.
This is wonderful, and of course, you've got a beautiful campus.
Yes,
I can see that in terms of what students can look forward to. You've got the engineering building looks pretty high tech. The student dormitory is clean.
yes.
Everything in Japan actually. I find it from coming from Bangladesh is ridiculously clean. I don't know if
Yeah,
that's it is
yeah,
so nice to you can pretty much eat off the floor, and
yeah,
I certainly your campus is
yeah.
sort of uh, certainly demonstrating that aspect of that. Now, how so when you say they have an engineering degree, what does that mean? Because is it mechanical engineering? Is it civil engineering? Is it computer engineering? Like, what
Okay.
engineering are we talking about? Yeah.
We are, yes, you may be wondering what exactly of our engineering program is intended for. So my answer is that combination of mechanical engineering and electrical engineering on computer engineering. So if you're a student, if you are admitted to a KUS engineering program, you can have a great opportunity to learn all these fundamentals at one place at KUS to be more comfortable about making anything in the modern technology, modern engineering world. Um, just to give you a good just let me give you just a good example of if you are familiar with, and I'm sure you understand the drones. Drones and a small air object and flying in the air, taking a picture of everything. And to make just one complicated drones, it takes a wide variety of engineering expertise. For example, you need to understand the concept of balance. You have to understand the concept of device. You have to understand the concept of materials because the drones should be made lighter at the same time. They're robust. Otherwise, it just fall down quickly. And at the same time, drones need to control camera from in the air, and it takes a computer programming, and also remote sensing techniques. So, modern engineering world, if you want to be a successful engineer, you have to have a comprehensive understanding of all these fundamental techniques and fundamental engineering expertise as one engineer. That's why KUS came up with the combination of all these important and necessary engineering expertise, engineering measure at just one place.
So this is something. I mean, I just to summarize, if I could understand, this is very very interesting and unique because you're sort of like teaching a jack of all trades kind of because you've got because engineering in the old days. I mean, okay, you have mechanical engineering, civil engineering, and all that, and electrical. So, but the thing is, what you have done is you've blended the most important parts of engineering or the ones that are most in demand and
Yes.
collaborated them into one individual. For example, it's interesting you mentioned that because I was visiting one of our US university partners, and they actually their computer engineering students collaborate with their mechanical engineering students,
Yeah,
collaborate with their computer
yeah,
to work on
that's
projects
the
together.
idea. That's the idea.
But you're doing all of that together, so
Yes,
you have an engineer who can do everything. You have an engineer who can do computer.
yes.
You have an engineer which can do electrical. You have an engineer which can do mechanic, and put it together. And then they can, when they're out in the field, either during the course, they can sort of specialize in the ones that they are interested in more, and also when they're out in the field working, they can then sort of hone their skills, or project what they are interested in mostly. So this is a really really good program, because and Bangladeshi student রাও অনেক সময়, Bangladeshi students a lot of times, I switch back and forth sometimes. I'm sorry, because for my audience, but a lot of Bangladeshi students actually don't know what engineering they want to study. Like they are usually, oh, I want to study engineering or science or something, but they don't know what in engineering they
Mm,
want to study. So this
mm,
is a great way for
mm.
them to sort of do a bit of both. So that's certainly really interesting. Now, if they, Mr. Takeda, what about jobs? Like when students go to Japan or any country, working part time or getting a full time job after graduation, or actually their lifestyle is very very important, because they want to have access to food that they can eat,
Mm, mm.
things like that. Now, of course, I can give that answer, but I would like you to, maybe you can talk a
Okay,
little bit about, maybe we can talk about this slide maybe first.
sure. Lifestyle. So you may be wondering what kind of food you can, yeah, you can have in Japan, based on your basic dietary or no, I wouldn't say program, diet or habits. So to answer your questions, Kyoto is the international cities, like I mentioned, with all these international students are coming from around the world all the time. Means that there is gonna be a wide variety of international cuisine, and just accessible to anybody on a daily basis. You're gonna have a Muslim food, you're gonna have Spanish food, Italian, or maybe Nepalese, and you're gonna have authentic Indian curry, and then Australian steak, and also you can have a McDonald's. And then you can have, there are tons of millions of Japanese or healthy Japanese food restaurants anywhere in Kyoto. So I don't think
It's
yeah,
one of them. I mean, literally, really, to like push down Mr. Takeda's comments. Actually, in Japan, food is the last thing you worry about, because the quality of food, even in like little hole in the wall restaurants, are so good, so delicious. I'm certainly a very big food person, and I can certainly vouch for it. And what I was surprised about was the diversity of the food. Like
yeah,
you can pretty much find any cuisine you want
yes,
in Kyoto. Like, and curry, I guess, is also a very big sort of part of the Japanese diet as well. So the Japanese eat a lot of rice and curry. Actually, Bangladeshi students, they we eat rice and curry. That's our sort of staple. And so that also happens to be one of the staples of Japanese food. So there is a lot of that they can get access to. But if the students live on campus, uh, for their on campus, the price they pay, which is approximately 565 US dollars per month, um, they'll get two meals,
yes,
all the utilities, and of course their like beautiful clean room
yes,
that they can access. So that's also a wonderful thing, because for a lot of Bangladeshi parents, that takes away a lot of the uncertainties, let's just say, like how will they cook or what will they eat and things like
mm,
that. So this is all included as part of, and they also can live off campus. There's a lot of Muslim and vegan friendly restaurants, as this slide sort of entails. Uh,
Yes.
I want to ask you something interesting that I came upon when I was looking at your presentation. Um, KUAS and Ohio State University has a partnership together now for some reason.
Yes. Yeah.
What is
Just last month, KUS Ohio State University, which has been ranked number 17 in the world, top colleges ranking, has agreed to enter into a partnership in recognition of the high quality of engineering program available at KUS. And not just Ohio State University, the most distinguished university in South Korea. Seoul National University has also agreed to partner with the Kyoto University of Advanced Faculty of Engineering for the same reasons. And this happened. Oh yeah, also last month, And 2 months ago, the Chinese top number 3 university, Sichuan University, came to our universities, and they started negotiating to partnership with between the two universities. And 2 months ago, we came to an agreement for the same reasons. So just a couple of months in the past, a few months, the top 3 universities
So,
came
in
to
terms of
agreement.
students going into research collaboration, or what you say
Exactly.
is top of the line,
Yeah.
latest research, students will have access to those things. That's what means that it means for international students. So, something certainly to look forward to. Now, I also wanted to ask you, because I mean, obviously, we are doing this. I'm sitting in Canada. You're sitting in Kyoto. Our students are, mostly in Bangladesh. Our offices are in Bangladesh as well, but we're all doing online, right? So now, what are you doing for COVID? I mean, what do students have to look forward to? Now, obviously, right now, students will be applying for the 2021 September session, right?
Right, right.
So what, like in terms of Corona, I mean, that has changed the world. So maybe you can talk about this slide. I mean, what are you like planning to do and things like that?
Yeah, at the moment, and this may be true with other universities throughout the world. We do a blended style learning or blending methods of doing online for some courses, doing person to person classes for other courses, and we are blending. We are doing the blending student education on our campus. In Japan, general or infectious cases has been under control very well, and our daily basis are just 40 cases, sometimes 100, just 100 cases, are cases out of 120 million population. Just 100, or could be 200 out of 120 million whole population in Japan. So practically infectious cases with coronaviruses has been under control, tight controls
So
in Japan.
basically, there is no coronavirus really, because
Yeah,
200 out of 120 million is
yeah,
basically comes to point 0.0000 something percent,
yeah,
right? So
yes,
wow, that's good job on Japan. I certainly, I've got a lot of students that are studying in Japan, and that's what they say. I mean, it's so much in control. Despite the fact that a lot of offices have been functioning throughout the process, but and Japan actually was one of the first ones who really took it very seriously and did the processes that was necessary. And as a result of that, I mean, that's the result of that. I mean, people, two countries who did not pay attention to that actually suffered, right? But Japan was very strict, and a lot of people were actually scared that, oh, why is Japan being so strict? Because perhaps their cases are more and all that. But it wasn't the case. It was just so you can prevent future outbreaks. So, good job to Japan for that, because that kind of management is what our students can sort of look forward to, when they go to a country like Japan. Now, in terms of eligibility, what do students need to have qualification wise? What are you looking for in students? And yeah,
Okay.
if you could talk a little bit about that.
Okay. Mr. Manzo, could you scroll down a little bit of the slides and to show maybe that one? Standard test, maybe one up.
Okay.
Yes. So okay. So given the nature of engineering programs, we have the minimum requirements. We have to really look carefully into our academic backgrounds of physics and math. Of course, obviously, in a similar, obviously equivalent to upper secondary levels, and that's number one. And number two, then obviously you have to have a 12-year formal education or history, and those are physics and math, and also to 12-year formal education. These are the minimum requirements for students to be able to apply to KUAS. And in addition to that, we also need the English proficiency test scores like TOEFL, IBT, and IELTS, and PTE. Also, our Duolingo. Duolingo now acceptable at KUS as well. If you are not, if you have not been on the English track in your education history, you also have to give us your test scores in terms of your English proficiency levels.
So that's understandable. So you can have A levels, you can have IB, but if you come from the local curriculum, which is SSC, HSC, unfortunately this year in Bangladesh, it's still sort of there's a gray area, like when they can give the exam, we don't know, because it
Okay.
hasn't fully opened up. We're hoping, I mean, I don't know, maybe they will announce the exams to be taken. But what will they do? Can they have an opportunity to apply to KUAS?
Yes, my answer is that they could, and there still are if they don't have when they don't have any local standardized test scores. Yes, there are two options for students to think about. One is to take alternative tests like SAT. SAT is a good measurement now for you to demonstrate your physics and math and abilities to KUS when you apply. And the other option is yes, you could apply to KUS even without local standardized test scores. Yes. Yes, and of course you need to verify why you can't have local standardized test scores this year, and contact our international office and to verify that. And if you are allowed, and then you could apply to KUS with no major big issues. Wow. You are muted. You
Oh,
muted.
sorry. I apologize. I muted myself to make it easy for you to talk, but unfortunately that wasn't. So, if students want to apply, right?
Okay.
When do they start?
They need to start apply to KUS on October 1st, 2020 for early entry. And for regular entry, they will need to apply to KUS on December 1st. The final entry starts on February 8th. Now,
And how will they apply? Like, what should they do if they want to make this application?
First things you students need to understand is to go online to find more about KUS, and also down there you can find downloadable application guidelines on our website. And if you once download it, you can find more details about how to apply to KUAS as well. And of course, this is a kind of complicated, might be complicated procedures for some students. And if you think so, I would highly recommend the students to go to our great partner Macy's and to ask them for help, for assistance, or for guidance or mentorship. They are professional or working with the Japanese universities, and they are a great partner with the KUAS, and they are going to give you a lot of necessary and relevant information to you when you apply to KUAS.
And I wanted to reiterate some of those points. Students, like application can be done. I mean, we are as a representative working with Japanese university for the last 10 years. Knock on wood, we have had zero visa rejections. And of course, in terms of application, we know the process and everything. So if you want, if you like, you can get in touch with us. You can get in touch with us through email by mail@macysbd.com. You can message us on Facebook. I guess the reason you're here, or if you're watching this video, and of course there are many who will watch this afterwards, you can go to our Facebook page and send us messages for inquiries. You can call us. Our numbers are 017-5566-0012. So you can call us. You can go to our website, which is macysbd.com, and then fill up an inquiry form. Actually, we have we are going to launch a KUAS page, and within that, you can also send your inquiries. So there's a lot of ways to reach us. We make it very easy. We check your assessment. We check your academic abilities. Sort of pre-screen you whether you will be eligible, and then we help you with the application process. Once you put in the application together, we will check and make sure it fulfills all the requirements, and then we will send it out to KUAS. And then, of course, once you have admission, you can we can get into like how to apply for your COE, which is certificate of eligibility, and your visa. Now, Mr. Kiyoshi, putting you on the spot here, one of the most important things in students' mind is the tuition fee and
Okay.
the cost of studying in Japan. So
Yes.
I would really appreciate if you could explain a little bit about that.
Okay. Our undergraduate program, first of all, our undergraduate program runs for 4 years, not 3 years, 4 years, following US institution systems. So let me explain how much cost of attending KUAS from the left-hand side. So original fee for first year are equivalent to 15,000 US dollars per year. So second year is gonna also 15,000 US dollars, and then the third year is the same, and it's the same for the final year. That's the basic structure, cost structure of attending the KUAS engineering program as an undergraduate student. And if you happen to be a postgraduate candidate, they are going to be much less than 15,000 US dollars, by the way. Also, here is a great news for you if you think about if there is any scholarship programs at KUAS available. Yes, my answer is yes. If you look at the middle part of this slide, saying that 30%, 50%, 100%, this is a percentage of tuition reduction. Let me explain a bit. So if you apply and if you are admitted to KUAS, you will receive the scholarship results as well, in addition to admission results. So if you are considered to be good students by our professors, you might be entitled to a 30% tuition reduction. In that case, for the first year, you only have to pay 10,000 US dollars for tuition, and 50% you only have to pay for 7,000 US dollars per 1 year. And it happens that you are one of the best students that are in the admission process by our professors, you might be entitled to 100% tuition reduction. I mean, exemption. In that case, you only have to pay 500 US dollars per year only.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Um, yeah, so basically you have scholarship opportunities between 30% to all the way to full tuition and living expenses as well.
Yes,
So it's but you know how much a scholarship a student will get will depend on pretty much you know what is you know their academic background and you know how strong their application is. I guess that's going to be an important factor in that decision making process as far as the university is concerned. So this is great. Mr. Kiyoshi, thank you so much for giving your time today. I really was keen, I mean, personally as well, to understand KUAS and you know its offering for students. So just to summarize for students, first of all, when you study in Japan, first of all, you're studying in the third largest economy in the world, you know, with lots of job opportunities before and after you graduate. This is something very important. You know, I studied in the U.S. I mean, obviously, it was a long time ago. I graduated from university about 20 years ago, and when I graduated, I interviewed with 20, 30 companies before I found one company that would not well. You know, I got into a lot of companies, but they weren't willing to sponsor. As an international student, you have to be sponsored for your, you know, H-1B visa and all that for the US. And I found one finally that was, you know, willing to sponsor my H1. And this is something that people don't realize, that there are real hurdles when you look for jobs in other countries. Whereas my Japanese students get 3 to 5 job offers before they graduate. So this is something very important. Once you graduate, however, um, and you know get into a job, students worry about citizenship and immigration, but that also is very easy. I mean, in terms of Japan, if you have worked in Japan for 5 years, you can apply for citizenship if your language skills and all that are good and you don't have any negative things in your history. So people also don't realize that you can actually apply for citizenship in Japan. And if you look at the I think there's a newspaper which sort of ranks citizenships, and Japan is number 1 in the world. So, Mr. Kyoshi, we are privileged to talk with you. You have the number 1 citizenship in the world. I'm sure you didn't think about it ever, but you know that's something to you know. I mean, you know, it's those kind of things don't just come automatically. They don't just hand it out. They're what it means for people is that number one, it is safe country. Number two, if you have a passport of that country, you can sort of travel the whole world without you requiring a visas. And the third thing is that with Japanese, you know, these students, you know, the Japanese mentality of always striving for you know perfection, cleanliness, you know, that discipline. That is something that a lot of international students, even if you don't want to live in Japan, actually. That kind of mentality can help students become successful no matter where they go. You know, the striving to be disciplined and you know to do the best that I can. and I really especially like the other one, which is leave when you leave some place, leave it in a better condition than you found it. I could tell you like a lot of Bangladeshis. I mean, we don't think about those things. We come in, but I remember I used to work in a hotel, and when Japanese guests stayed in those hotels. Usually, when they left, the house cleaner would be confused because the room would be so clean. These are like sort of wonderful traits that you can sort of imbibe in yourself when you study in a country like Japan. And I think our students have certainly felt that, and they have that to look forward to. Students, Kyoto University of Advanced Sciences is our latest partner in Japan, and I have been personally really looking forward to sending students there because a lot of inquiries we get from students are about studying engineering, and KUAS is certainly filled that, and also to be able to live in a place like Kyoto when you're doing that is certainly a wonderful thing. Mr. Kiyoshi, thank you so much for your time. This video will be there online, so people can watch it later on as well, and they can ask questions and whatnot. And of course, we are there to answer most of them. Thank you so much, and we have a lot of questions, and my team will help in answering them. So most of them are about scholarship, what is the entry requirement, medium of instruction, which we went over that it's in Japanese and things like that. So we will handle those queries. It's in English. Sorry, did I say Japanese? Of course, it's in English, and they teach you Japanese. So that's all from our end. Mr. Kiyoshi, you wanted to say something before we go?
Yeah, just before I go, and I really thank you, and then also thank you attendees and attending this seminar, and then I truly appreciate your time and the efforts to make it here today. Just let me share an interesting story that happens to me today. I just got an email, advertising email from one human resource, Japan-based human resource companies, asking us, is there any enough number of talented engineers in our situation, in our institutions? Asking us already, because and then they are saying interesting that we have been very successful in this market, and providing talented human resources to needy Japanese companies already. For example, we have recruited such a talented people from China, South Korea, and Bangladesh already. So if you need talented Bangladeshi students, Bangladeshi engineers, just ask us. That's what the email I received from one Japanese resource company says. So interesting. It's so coincident. So coincidence. So I guess you may not, as a student, you may not realize what's happening around you, but successful Bangladeshi students already started looking for a job or opportunity outside of Bangladesh as an engineers. That's not new trend. That is an ongoing situations already. If you're interested, you might be a part of them, and joining a KUAS might be a good option, might be a better option for you to consider, because you can go to Japan, you learn a Japanese language, you learn modern engineering at the same time, and by the time of graduation, you'll be a full-fledged as an engineer, Japanese language speaker, and a Japanese culture understanding. And thank you very much. Thank you very much. And hopefully I can see you in person on our campus in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And, I couldn't have put it better myself. What a great way to end this. Again, thank you so much for watching. I know there are a lot of questions. We will answer them in the line and we will get in touch with you. Thank you so much, Mr.
Thank you.
Kyoshi. Um,
Mr. Manzoor, thank you very much.
and my respectful goodbye to you and the audience for today. And please tune in more because we have shows coming in every week, every day almost. So there's a lot of things going on that are interesting, especially now. Again, thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.